It's the end of Q2, and I just ran my numbers, and guess what? Doesn't look so good for this quarter. I've said from the beginning that I'm going to be transparent with everything that I've got going on and teach you guys along the way what I'm learning as I'm doing this trading card business. So before we get into the numbers, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Dell. I sling cardboard to feed my kids. And I want to share my journey along with you so that you can learn from my trials and tribulations along the way and grow with me, and we can bounce things off of each other so that we can all learn at the same time. If that sounds like something that you're interested in, consider subscribing down below. All right, let's get into these numbers. All right, I said that it doesn't look good. Well, it doesn't look great. I actually lost money this quarter, and there is a bit of a caveat to that. I went extremely hard on buying inventory this last month, and this last month is the reason why my numbers don't look so good. I spent the most amount of money that I have ever spent in my entire business for the last, we'll just say 4 years, because I've been doing this thing off and on the side for about 4 years. And I knew that this month was the month that I was going to quit my job and move into things full time. So I built a lot of backlog on my eBay side, and I went really hard on this card show that I have up north that I go to 3 times a year. Really, just a bunch of circumstances led to a losing proposition. And I say it's losing, it's not going to be losing in the long run. It's a short-term bump on a long-term journey. And that's kind of the way that I got to look at this thing, because if I just look at these numbers and I don't give any context to it, it's pretty scary. But I'm not worried. I know that I went as hard as I could this last quarter. I will share with you some of the numbers that I've got going on as I'm talking. I'll put them on the screen or something like that so you can have a visualization. I'm not going to share my entire spreadsheet because there's a bunch of other information in there as well, names of people and names of businesses and stuff, and I don't really want to share all that, but that's fine. I'm going to share you my numbers. So I actually, this quarter, I spent, this is mind-boggling to me. I spent $47,000, $47,594. That is how much I spent in the entire quarter. I spent $21,780 alone in June. Now, where did all this money come from? What did it all go into? It went into a lot of inventory. Like I said, I had this big show up north that I was planning for, and my spring and fall up there are always excellent shows. And last year they had a smaller show in the summer. Well, this turned into be the same type of thing. This show was strictly Pokemon, or strictly TCG. Last year it was the same way, but you were allowed to bring sports as well. And I actually brought sports in, and I did about $10,000 in sales that show. And I went into this expecting to do similar numbers. So I went really hard. I spent a hard amount of money. I spent almost $22,000. Now, that's not all on inventory. It is also on other expenses as well. I had a bunch of PSA orders that came due. I take money from customers, and I have to pay those expenses. So it all works out in the end. But it's a big number that comes off on the spreadsheet. So the nice thing about when I spend a high amount on inventory is the fact that I still can have that inventory. If I don't sell through it, I still have the inventory. I can still sell it. I can still make money and cover my expenses. So when I spend money on inventory, it never really makes me too nervous. I know that eventually I'll sell through it. It might take me a longer amount of time than I'm planning. But I know at least I have that inventory. It's the expenses that go into that show that I had up north that really bite me in the ass. So, for this show up north, I normally don't spend this amount of money, But this show in particular, things went really rough for me, and I had to spend some extra money. I ended up spending almost $3,500 just to set up at this card show, which is a lot of money. And if I would have known that going into this, and knowing that I wasn't going to have the show that I was expecting, I didn't do so great for sales, I wouldn't have done it. But just to give you some context, I spent $462. I'm gonna round up. $462 on tables. I bought an extra night at a hotel because I took the family and we were planning on going and doing some things on the side also. But the car broke down the car had issues on the way up there. If you didn't see the video I had before, I had a bunch of things go wrong on the car ride up there. So anyways, I bought an extra hotel room. So originally it was $174 for one night. I had to buy an extra night. It was $204 on top of that. So there's an added expense. The car rental, $506 I had for the car rental. Well, I had planned on spending $300. I booked it and I went to go pick it up, and it was the wrong car, and they didn't have anything big enough for me. So I had to go shop around and find something that was bigger. So I shopped around and I found something that was bigger, and then the tire. I had a flat tire on the way up there. Then I had to get a different vehicle, and it just all added up to be way more expensive than I expected. That also added, tarps and straps. I had to stop at Walmart. I spent $72 that I wasn't expecting there. Gas and parking wasn't too bad. That was $154. Food goes in as an expense because I would not normally eat out. My family doesn't eat out super often, maybe a couple times a month. Well, we eat out the entire time that we're there, and we racked up a bill for $588 in food for 3 days. And then, of course, we have the inventory that I bought up there. Now, I count this as expenses in this show, and it adds to it. It all works out in the roundabout way because that's stuff that I can make profit on. So, I guess you could say that I shouldn't count it as an expense for the show, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I spent $877 the first day, and I spent $447 the second day. Okay, so let's talk about the revenue that I made from that show. Revenue from that show, typically, I was expecting about $10,000. My fall and spring shows up there, usually it's about 15 to 18,000 in sales. Summer, I was hoping for 10. Well, I didn't make it. I made $4,348. Yikes. First day was $3,000 roughly, and second day was $1,200 roughly. Not great, Bob. So, when you cut that in half for the expenses or for the revenue that I brought in, really puts a dampener on what I had going on. So all in all, I have a lot more numbers that went into this, but Q2, which is my first month, this includes the first month of going full time. Q2, I made $46,931. I spent $47,594. That's a $663 loss. Ouch. Okay. I'm a little nervous about that. Of course, that sucks. That's not the way I was planning on this thing going. But with all of that being said, I am bumping up my eBay sales. I am going really hard, and I am planning on probably 5xing my eBay sales. eBay sales alone for this month, for this month, we'll just take this month for instance, was $1,400. Not very much money. Now, if I 5x that in a month and really bring that around, and let's just say I do 6K, which I think is possible. Let me do the math real quick. Let me think. All right, 6K might be a little bit excessive. I just did the math. I think I could probably do about $4,500. But anyways, that's gonna help a lot. I have 2 card shows coming up soon. That's gonna help too. Actually, it's gonna be a lighter month for card shows. I know it's the summer months, so that's gonna bring things down. Basically, what I got to come up with is to slow down on the spending. Don't go so crazy on the spending for this month, next month, maybe 2. It's tough because I like to spend a lot of money in the summer because things soften in the summer, and it's usually a pretty good buying opportunity to go into the fall. But I already have the inventory, so I have to focus on what I've got and get that moved through and then buy some more inventory. Of course, I will continue to be buying, but I just won't buy as heavy as I did in June. I've got a couple of collections that just came in. I just had a $2,000, actually it was a little more, $2,200 collection that I just bought from a friend on Discord. And I've been buying a lot of Shohei lately, and I've been spending a lot of money there with another friend that I have down in Arizona. And yeah, so I have been spending a lot of money, and you got to spend money to make money. I was hoping to make more money this last quarter. I was on pace to do pretty well for this quarter, but spending $22,000, and it was a little bit excessive. I shouldn't have done that. I should have known going into the summer months and going up to this card show up in Minnesota where I'm only selling basically half of my inventory. I should have known that I should expect things to be a little bit softer for sales. And I'm okay. I'm not worried. I have enough built up in the equity of what I've got going on. I have enough inventory. I'm going to start moving through it more often, quicker, because I'm going to be doing eBay more so, and I'm not worried. But it does make me think, and it does make me learn. So I don't know if you guys learned anything from this. Like I said, I wanted to share along the way and let you guys know what I've got going on. I'm not going to share every single number that I've got going on. It's a lot of minutia. I don't feel like I should be 100% transparent on every nickel and dime that I'm sending out and bringing in. But I'll give you guys a roundabout number and let you guys know roundabout where I'm at. And yeah, so actually for the year, let's go ahead and look at for the year. I was thinking I was going to make more money this year. So this quarter really sets me back a little bit. But anyways, I've still made money for the year. I'm up 12,000, or well, a little less, about $11,591. I have made profit on the year, so I'm not in the hole through the whole year. I did really well the first quarter, and the second quarter is just a step backwards for a little bit, and then we're going to hope that we push through it and move forward and do all right to continue the rest of the year. We still have a whole 6 months left to go, and I'm not worried. Not yet. All right, guys, I appreciate you checking out my content. Like I said, I appreciate you following me along on the journey. Let's go ahead and learn things as we watch this fly around. Let's go ahead and learn things together. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.